All right, parents, gather around because I want to hear your thoughts on this, and even non-parents, possibly educators too, because it involves teachers. And excuse the breakup now because I'm getting over this flu. But my son came home this afternoon, and I could tell something was wrong with him. He gave me a hug, and then he kind of just laid there, and I'm like, okay, like, what's wrong? What happened? So initially he's like, nothing, nothing. So then he, comes back to give me another hug, and then he starts crying. And so I'm like, why are you crying? Like, what happened? Did you get in trouble at school? Blah, 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 blah. So he's like, no, nothing happened. What did he say initially? He was like, I'm just overcome with emotions right now. And I'm like, okay, but why? So he ends up telling me that today there was an incident at school with another classmate whom I have talked to him about this particular classmate before and outside of the classroom, and I've told him I want you to observe his behavior and I want you to tell me whether or not this individual is a friend, because if the things that you're telling me that he does and the things that I have observed that he does classify as a friend to you, then I think we need to revamp the whole thing that I've taught you about friends. So said boy got into a fight today. This is what my son said. And my son got in trouble because he basically told the other little boy that was fighting the other kid. Let's just do it like this because that's going to confuse me. My son told kid B that kid A wanted to fight him. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, what did you tell him that for? Why did you feel why did you feel that was necessary for you to do that? Because that's very much instigating. And we've talked about that before, and I've told you that you need to stay out of people's business. You cannot advocate for everybody and do all of the things. Knock it off. So that is something that I have shared with him many a times. Like, you cannot advocate for everybody all the time, but given his nature and given who he is, that is a part of his character. So, he's telling me what happened, and he's like, but I don't understand, why he lied on me, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. So in like fashion, he texts kid A and asks him, and kid A says, I know, man, my bad, I didn't mean to. So I told him, I said, so what does this teach you? This particular child is not your friend, so we need to leave it alone, okay? That's that part. So later on this evening, he tells me, I asked him, I said, what did the teacher say, specifically to you? Because I want to make sure that when I see her tomorrow, I'm asking her what happened. So he says, she said to me, like, you're always in mess. And you know why you're always in mess? And so my son says no. And she told him, because you're messy. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Labeling is not what we do. So immediately it clicked. I said, this is why you were emotional when you came home and you began to cry because of what she said. And he was like, I mean, yeah, like, she, he was like, to call a 10-year-old messy. And I'm like, yeah, it's one thing to correct your behavior. It's one thing to try to bring awareness to children, but it's another thing to label kids and then use that terminology. You don't have the jurisdiction or the right to do that. I'm sorry, you don't. And as a former, and I'm not even going to say former educator because I still educate, but someone that used to work in the classroom, we all know that that's a no-no. That's a big no-no. We don't go around telling kids and giving them label. That's just like telling somebody's kid, you know why you can't get it? Because you're stupid. We're not doing that. And so tomorrow I will be writing an email in the morning, and then in the afternoon when I pick him up, I will be talking to her. I want to do the email because I want paper trail. And again, I know my kid, and again, the whole instigating thing, this is not the first time he's done that. And I have talked to him about that. And at 10, these kids are still growing, they're still developing, all of the things. And so they're still going to go through learning curves. But never in a million years do you get to label my kid. So, parents, let me know your thoughts. I'll let you guys know the follow-up. And educators, are you guys out here, teachers rather, like just calling kids messy?